my friend Paul, and right now I'm looking at his dinger. He's got a very huge wiener. It's about that big.
And Jeffrey Downey took a shot at me at the papers today at being tired, you know. And you know why he did that?
Why?
Because he has a small penis.
People think I have a reputation of being a dirty comedian, and I don't really want to expose that.
You can really see how little your dick is in that suit.
This family, mother, father, and 4 kids. Doesn't matter if they're boys or girls. And they're going to be used anyway as just nothing more than a hole.
I thought I'd be the girl to, like, die with a cocktail in my hand. Like, that was my plan.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd see my 30th birthday.
Yeah, me either.
They go down on each other in all different configurations. It's 69, it's 29, because the kids are young, it's 9. What the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, I'm pulling your pants up. I don't care! I don't care anymore! I needed to do this!
Can I get a copy of this? I'd like to send it to the kids on the show Full House, if I could.
Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of television's most beloved family sitcoms, Full House. While millions of Americans invited the Tanner family into their homes every week for wholesome entertainment, the reality behind the cameras tells a completely different story. From wild on-set antics to modern-day scandals, this is the uncensored story of America's favorite family. But be warned, because what you're about to see can never be unseen, and what you're about to learn will forever change how you view the show. Let's start in 1987, when Full House first hit the airwaves. Critics absolutely freaking hated it. The show actually got an F grade from People magazine, and reviewers continued to completely savage it well into its 4th and 5th seasons. But while critics were panning the show, something far more interesting was happening on set. Bob Saget, the actor who portrayed the clean freak, wholesome, single dad, couldn't have been more different from his character. In fact, in his revealing memoir called Dirty Daddy, Saget described filming the show as a beautiful Jekyll and Hyde experience.
Gosh, you're a wonderful audience. You really are. I'm not just kissing up. I'm really not. I swear. I'm slobbering all over you is what I'm doing, because I need you to like me real bad, because I have no act, and I have no life, and I have no future. I'm serious. My mom is Gumby, my dad is Pokey, and I'm Mr. Potato Head. So I talk real fast. If you have any drugs, take them now. I'm serious. I'm not funny, but I am quick. That's the problem I have with women, too. But it's good to be here.
To put it nicely, Saget was an overgrown preteen, and he would do things like draw explicit pictures on the scripts, show them to his co-stars, and giggle like a schoolboy. Or there was also the time he convinced his castmates to get high with him on set, or when he performed suggestive acts on a life-size doll replica of the Olsen twins. But more about that later. Everyone was pretty surprised that Bob didn't get fired, and frankly, I am too. Heck, he even ended up getting to guest star on Fuller House. And for anyone who's not aware, Bob Saget and Dave Coulier were friends way before they both landed their Full House gigs. Coulier recalls his first encounter with Saget during a Comedy Store tour in Detroit when he was just starting his stand-up career. After Coulier moved to Los Angeles, he ended up living with Saget and his parents and crashing on their couch. So there were no issues there when it came to set dynamics.
Give yourself a chance. Oh, this is the fun part. Let's go. You ready? Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Now I know why disco died.
Funnily enough, even though Danny Tanner and Jesse Katsopoulos appeared to be the perfect brother-in-law duo on screen, they weren't really very fond of each other to begin with. Bob Saget and John Stamos actually couldn't stand each other for the first 4 years of filming. John and I didn't get along that well, Saget later confessed to People magazine. However, their relationship would eventually evolve into a close friendship, setting the stage for their infamous Vegas stories. During one memorable trip, Bob Saget got ridiculously drunk while watching an Elvis impersonator, of course. The night ended with John Stamos basically playing caretaker to his inebriated co-star, removing Saget's shoes, cutting up his room service steak into bite-sized pieces, and even feeding it to him to keep him from getting sick.
We were in Vegas seeing an Elvis impersonator because John makes me do things that I guess I never had a frat life. We went back to the room and I didn't feel that well. I had a couple drinks and we were just two dudes in a bed and we woke up and nothing was good about it. I mean, we were dressed and nothing smelled good, and you know, you don't want to have a lot of drinks and then wake up with John Stamos.
But hold on, because the Vegas sagas get even weirder. During Saget's birthday celebration at the Palms Hotel in the private bowling suite, Coulier decided to give his castmates a show they'd never forget by stripping completely naked and sitting smack in the middle of the bowling alley. Why? I have no idea. I'll spare you the details of what Coulier did next, but just trust me when I say that it definitely added another layer to the cast's decidedly adult Las Vegas escapades. I know I've heavily focused on Bob Saget so far, but I don't want to completely villainize him though, because honestly, all three male leads on set were just as immature. Saget, Stamos, and Dave Coulier formed what can only be described as television's most mischievous trio. Long days on set can be stressful, so the men found plenty of ways to relieve that tension, including stripping down to their underwear and pantsing each other at any given moment. One of their most infamous incidents involved deciding to film a scene without their pants on. As Coulier tells it, it was late. We had the scene we couldn't get. John, Bob, and I had to walk around this van and come out, and I said, let's just take our pants off. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, I guess that's one way to break the tension. The crew was in hysterics as the three grown men emerged from behind the van in their underwear, but their victory lap was short-lived. Within seconds, they were confronted by Jodie Sweetin's mom, Candace Cameron's mom, and the children's teacher. What they hadn't realized was that the child actors had monitors in their backstage rooms where they could see everything happening on set. But pantless shenanigans were just the tip of the iceberg. Dave Coulier became notorious on set for something else entirely, his legendary farting.
All you had at your wedding, it was so beautiful. I loved it so much, and you were so proud it was all fart food. Now, people need to know that farts are like basically your core.
According to Saget, Coulier's gas was so unbelievably potent, it could clear an entire stage, with Bob claiming the set always smelled like his ass. These performances became such a regular occurrence that they made it into the gag reels for all 8 seasons. Not even the kids were safe from Coulier. His gassy pranks reached an uncomfortable peak when he farted directly in one of the Olsen twins' faces, which prompted John Stamos to warn him that he would probably stunt their growth. As if the prophecy had been fulfilled, years later at a convention panel, Coulier would cheekily note that the Olsens are indeed on the shorter side, with Ashley revealing on the Oprah Winfrey Show that Mary-Kate is almost an inch shorter than she is. So who knows? Maybe that's because of Coulier.
Okay, and you're 1 inch taller than Mary-Kate.
Yeah, about 1 inch taller, a little older. 2 minutes older.
2 minutes older? 2 minutes. 2 minutes older, okay.
Undermining every ounce of moral capital generated by the season 3 episode, Just Say No Way, the adult cast members were no strangers to getting high on set. Saget snitched in his book about the 3 men doing whippets, which is huffing nitrous oxide from whipped cream cans. While waiting for Michelle to finish up a birthday party scene, Saget recalled feeling so bored and annoyed that he had the bright idea to get high from some extra cans they had in the fridge that were intended for use as props. Saget wrote, "Dave and John followed my lead, and we inhaled the little bit of air still left in the cans that were meant for Michelle's birthday cake scene." Interestingly, he wasn't even completely sure if they did get high, as the trio were in a hurry, and whipped cream started squirting everywhere. Speaking of Michelle, the behind-the-scenes drama with the Olsen twins could fill an entire video of its own. When they started on the show, Mary-Kate and Ashley were just 8 months old, and due to strict child labor laws, the cast had extremely limited time to get their scenes right. As Coulier explained, when you lost them, that was it. That's all you got. So you had to get what you needed at that specific moment. This led to some creative solutions to get them to cooperate, namely bribing the toddlers with candy, usually red gummy bears, when the adult cast wanted them to do something. Because no child can deny candy when it's in front of them, the kids would toss out their catchphrase,
"Got it, dude,"
and comply with whatever needed to be done. But not everyone had the patience for working with babies. John Stamos has publicly said how much he hated filming with the Olsens, and actually tried to have the twins fired early in the show's run because of their constant crying and tantrums. Full House did try using a couple of stand-ins after sending the Olsens off, but they didn't work out, and the twins were brought back.
The Mary-Kate and Ashley, beautiful, adorable, big blue eyes, with the, screamed like they were being tortured in the middle of this, in this scene, and we couldn't get a word out. I said, get rid of those kids. Get rid of them. I can't, I'm sorry, we can't get through this thing. Well, but let's try some other kids. Then they brought in these other two kids. Do you remember?
The Renteria twins? Was it them? The Renterias?
Well, I think they were homely. They weren't attractive kids. I'm sure.
Sorry, Renterias.
No, not the Renterias.
Maybe you're handsome.
I don't know who the Renterias were, but they brought in two kids that were not, I'm sure they turned out to be, but they were very quiet. They didn't do anything, but they were sort of, homely. And I was a homely child too, but I didn't want to be an actor at that point, so it didn't really matter. And then I said, all right, get the Olsen twins back. I think they were just in the dressing room waiting. They made such a big deal. I fired the Olsen. I mean, they didn't go far.
Ironically, years later, they would be the only original cast members to completely refuse participation in the Netflix revival Fuller House.
Well, Michelle sends her love, but she's busy in New York running her fashion empire.
Maybe the most disturbing on-set antic was how the cast treated the 4-foot rubber doll used as a stand-in for the Olsen twins. When those pesky child labor laws prevented the twins from being on set, this doll would serve as their substitute during rehearsals. The ever-deplorable trio, who seemed to be somewhat obsessed with jokes about pedophilia, especially Saget, admitted to performing sexually suggestive acts with the doll between takes. In an interview with SiriusXM, Bob Saget shared that he, John Stamos, and Dave Coulier would often joke around on set and do pretty obscene things with each other to get a laugh. What they didn't realize, yet again, was that the child actors could see everything on their classroom monitors, leading to another awkward confrontation with the production staff.
I hated my image so much that the Full House 8x10, I wanted to wipe my ass with it because I was so self-loathing.
Your other bit that you would do that always made everyone laugh was you would look for either butter or sour cream or cream cheese, anything
coffee
that was white.
Oh, that one.
And you'd smear white all around your lips, and then you'd turn to everybody and go, I got the job. You guys, I don't know how, but I got the job.
Every comedian I've done that at a restaurant with has taken it. And I don't think I get any credit.
A bit of a side note here, but did anyone else have no idea that Dave Coulier and Alanis Morissette were a thing? Back in 1992, when Coulier was 33, he dated an 18-year-old up-and-coming singer named Alanis Morissette. First of all, why are you dating an 18-year-old when you're in your 30s? Anyways, their relationship might have been forgotten by history if it wasn't for what happened next. Morissette released her hit song You Oughta Know in 1995, and speculation ran wild that the scathing breakup anthem was about Uncle Joey himself. Although the true inspiration for the song remained a mystery for years, Coulier later admitted that certain lyrics hit suspiciously close to home. He specifically recalled one line about being interrupted during dinner, remembering a time when Morissette called him in Canada, and he told her he was in the middle of eating.
Did you forget about me, Mr. Duplicity? I hate to bug you in the middle of dinner.
Though Morissette has kept things vague, telling Coulier it could be a bunch of people, he's played into the urban legend. often joking about being the subject of one of the 90s most iconic breakup songs.
Here's the story. I'm driving in Detroit, and I've got my radio on, and I hear the hook for You Oughta Know come on the radio, and I'm like, wow, this is a really cool hook. And then I start hearing the voice. I'm like, wow, this girl can sing. And I had no idea, that this was the record. And
hey, I gave someone a cross.
And then I was like, I'm listening to the lyrics going, ooh, oh no. Oh, I can't be this guy.
The show's transition into darker territory really began after it ended in 1995, with several cast members struggled to adjust to life after the show. None more so than Jodie Sweetin, who played middle sister Stephanie Tanner. Her descent into addiction started at the surprisingly young age of 14, at Candace Cameron's wedding, of all places. What started with drinking quickly escalated to harder substances. By her own admission, Sweetin spent over $60,000 on methamphetamine during a 9-month period between 2006 and 2007.
When the show ended in 1995, Jodie said she wanted to be a normal kid.
Good morning, everybody.
She went to high school and college. At 20, she married a Los Angeles police officer. Candace Cameron, her older sister on Full House, was in the wedding party. But 2 years ago, unemployed and bored, she tried meth and quickly got hooked. Soon, she was using meth every day.
In her revealing book, Unsweetened, Sweetin shared that she finally realized that she'd hit rock bottom when she started giving drug awareness lectures while still actively using. She would deliver these talks about sobriety, then use the speaking fees to buy more drugs. The turning point came in December 2008, when she was investigated by Child Services for driving under the influence with her daughter Zoe in the car. I made some really poor choices, she later told Matt Lauer on the Today Show.
But there is a certain sense of loss when a series ends that, it's like losing a family, people I was with for 8 years, and after that, kind of trying to figure out who you are at age 13 when you've just lost your job that basically identified you for, the first part of your life it's a little difficult.
Looks like Holly Weird also did a number on the Olsen twins because they faced their own struggles. Most notably, in 2004, just after graduating high school, Mary Kate entered rehab for an eating disorder. The situation was so dire that family sources revealed they were terrified for the star's life and didn't want to end up finding her dead on the floor from not eating. This unfortunately marked the end of the twins' joint acting career, with their last film together being New York Minute. Now, if we're comparing co-stars and talking about the sheer volume of controversies each one's had, John Stamos is coming in at number 1 every time. For one, Stamos has pretty much always had issues with abusing narcotics. In 2007, John Stamos was set to appear on an Australian talk show called Mornings with Carrie Ann. While he thankfully did manage to make his way to the show, the time spent on their stage was utterly embarrassing and was a display of his obvious issues with addiction.
We have got a whole...
Today, we have therapeutic drugs and administration.
So you've got therapeutic drugs with you, have you?
But I love Australia. It's one of my favorite countries in the whole entire world. Anyone else want to talk about Dad?
No,
Elvis died, on a toilet. He was fat.
No.
Yes.
You're
Let's see, who
kidding
else
me.
died? My career after coming to Australia.
Never. Listen, Jono, you've been terrific.
It unfolded to be one of the most awkward and humiliating appearances of his career, and he later admitted to being jet-lagged, on sleeping pills, and plastered. In 2015, he faced serious legal trouble when he was arrested for DUI in Beverly Hills after exhibiting erratic behavior that prompted concerned citizens to call the police. The situation escalated to the point where paramedics had to escort him to the hospital, where tests confirmed he was under the influence of GHB, a central nervous system depressant. It's also commonly used as a date rape drug. Following this incident, Stamos was sentenced to 3 years of probation and spent 30 days in rehab, which he later described as the hardest thing ever. In a candid interview with CBS News, he opened up about his struggles with sobriety, revealing, "For the longest time when I was not sober or I was fuzzy, I thought, I've done it all. I don't want to kill myself, but I didn't care if I died." But the controversies don't stop there. Stamos' behavior on set raised eyebrows, particularly regarding his interactions with the young female cast members. Reports surfaced that he, along with co-stars Bob Saget and Dave Coulier, engaged in vulgar conversations and kept a stash of Playboy magazines on set, which was shocking given the show's family-friendly image. As far as controversies go, having one of your young colleagues wake up in your bed is a big one, and John Stamos put a checkmark in that box. In a shocking memoir released by Jodie Sweetin, she made some heavy allegations against Stamos that left fans completely stunned and utterly disappointed. She claims that she was partying hard at Stamos' Los Angeles residence in 2004, and that she eventually woke up to find herself in bed with John and Ashley Olsen. Given the giant age difference and the questionable circumstances of this occurrence, fans once again questioned Stamos on his inappropriate behavior. And we can't forget about the way he literally dropped Paula Abdul like a ton of bricks without any explanation in the middle of wedding talk. Moreover, he faced an extortion attempt from a 17-year-old party girl who claimed to have compromising photos of him. And around the time of the Fuller House reboot, Stamos stirred drama with the Olsen twins, publicly calling them out on social media when they claimed ignorance about the show's revival.
John Stamos called bullshit. Now he's addressing that outburst.
I mean, I talked to them. I understood why they didn't want to come back. I mean, they just have big lives. They haven't acted in a while. But I love them dearly, and they're always welcome on our show.
You want Roker to make a call?
I want Roker to be one of the Olsen twins.
And in a twist that absolutely nobody saw coming, one of the worst cast scandals involved Lori Loughlin. Sweet, innocent Aunt Becky. In 2019, she became the face of a nationwide college admissions drama when it was revealed she and her husband paid $500,000 to get their daughters into USC as fake rowing recruits.
There is no justifying or excusing what happened, because what happened was wrong. And I think every single person in my family can be like, that was messed up. That was a big mistake.
According to court documents, William Rick Singer, the mastermind behind the scam, went as far as suggesting that they get pictures of the girls using the rowing machine in workout clothes, so they look like real athletes, and so the lie was even more believable.
Yes.
I was a little confused when I saw stuff about what I had written on my application, and I remember writing on my application about my YouTube channel and VidCon, and there were two very different things.
Right.
You know, so there was a lot of it that I was like, whoa.
But according to court documents, Olivia and her sister posed for these rowing photos to get them into the school as recruits for the crew team, despite neither having ever participated in the sport.
The scandal cost Loughlin everything. Her role on Fuller House, her relationship with the Hallmark Channel, and ultimately, her freedom. She served 2 months in prison, while her husband served 5. During her court hearing, a contrite Loughlin admitted, "I am truly, profoundly, and deeply sorry, and I need to face the consequences and make amends."
I do want the experience of like game days, partying. I don't really care about school.
Words she now says she regrets.
Even Candace Cameron, who maintained DJ Tanner's squeaky clean image well into adulthood, hasn't escaped controversy. In 2022, she found herself embroiled in multiple public disputes. First, JoJo Siwa labeled her the rudest celebrity she'd ever met, revealing that Cameron had refused to take a photo with her at the Fuller House premiere when Siwa was just 11 years old. Then, Bure faced massive backlash after announcing her move to GAC Family, stating the network would focus on traditional marriage in its Christmas movies. Everyone read between the lines and realized that traditional marriage was actually just code for no gay couples. This prompted Siwa to call her out again, saying, "This is rude and hurtful to a whole community of people." This also got her into trouble with her co-star Jodie Sweetin, who's an advocate for the LGBTQ community, leading to them unfollowing each other on social media. More recently, the tension escalated when Cameron criticized a segment from the 2024 Paris Olympics opening ceremony, which she perceived as a blasphemous drag parody of The Last Supper. Sweetin defended the performance, clarifying that it was intended as a tribute to Dionysus, the Greek god of celebration.
See the opening ceremonies completely blaspheme and mock the Christian faith with their interpretation of the Last Supper was disgusting. And it made me so sad.
Even after the extra explanation from Sweetin and the Paris Olympics official Instagram providing further clarification, Cameron stuck to her religious guns and refused to accept that the opening ceremony was anything other than blatant blasphemy. The story of Full House took its darkest turn in January 2022 with the sudden and mysterious death of Bob Saget. The night before his passing, Saget performed his characteristically raunchy stand-up routine at the Ponte Vedra Concert Hall in Florida. Audience member Doug Nichols recalled him being in high spirits, noting that Saget seemed very humbled by the fact that so many people were there to see him. The circumstances of his death are still a bit unclear. According to the official autopsy, Saget died from accidental blunt force trauma to his head, which fractured his skull. But the details don't quite add up. The report noted that the injury could have been caused by something hard, covered by something soft. Yet, investigators found no such object in his hotel room. As noted in Rolling Stone, most of the suite was carpeted. The headboard of the bed was lightly padded and set slightly out from the wall. Nothing was located in the room that allows for a definitive conclusion. Coroners also mentioned that Saget had several underlying conditions at the time, i.e. COVID-19, an enlarged heart, and atherosclerosis. These may have exacerbated the effects of the head trauma. Like quite a few head trauma victims, Saget might have hit his head at some point outside his room and gone to sleep thinking everything would be fine. I guess we'll just have to take their word for it when they say no foul play was involved. In addition to the tragic circumstances surrounding Bob Saget's death, fellow Full House cast member Dave Coulier is currently facing his own health battle. Recently diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, Coulier has undergone multiple surgeries and chemotherapy treatments. He described the diagnosis as a gut punch, but remains optimistic, noting that early detection has significantly improved his prognosis, with a 90% chance of curability. Coulier has been candid about his health journey, emphasizing the importance of regular screenings and how his sobriety has helped him cope with personal losses, including the passing of Saget. From pantsless pranks to prison sentences, from on-set substance abuse to tragic endings, the real story of Full House is far more compelling and concerning than anything that ever made it to air. It might just be time for everyone to admit that actors are, in fact, people who are acting. So it might be more than just a little unrealistic for viewers to expect them to be carbon copies of the characters that they play. Let me know in the comments which of these revelations shocked you the most. And if you enjoyed this peek into one of television's most iconic shows, don't forget to like and subscribe for more untold stories from your favorite 80s and 90s series.